he sees them more as teammates as opposed to idols, I think his game's only going to grow for here, and look for him to be a very significant offensive player for Canada as this tournament goes forward.
Canada's played France 15 times at the World Championship. It's been pretty one-sided, except 30 years ago here in Stockholm, the French beat Canada, did it again in 2014. There are only 2 wins in 15 tries at the Worlds. Mark?
Thanks, guys. So as mentioned, Sweden won yesterday against Finland, so they have the maximum amount of points after 3 games. Canada can do the same with a win in regulation today. Latvia currently sits in 3rd place, Finland in 4th. A reminder that the top 4 teams advance to the quarterfinals. So here's Canada in a game against France, and they tried to continue to build as the tournament goes on. We saw them even better against Latvia than they were against Slovenia. And you see that the lines, unlike in previous years, have for the most part stayed the same. And I guess why not when you have the star power and you have instant success with some of these names. And this is the first time that we'll have Jordan Binnington and Marc-Andre Fleury both dressed for the game. Going back to that second line, Gio, and it's Sidney Crosby, Macklin Celebrini, and also Travis Konechny who's joined that line, and you can make an argument it's been their best line.
Yeah, it really has, I think. I think Dean Evason is seeing what he's got here. I mean, last game they were pretty dominant. I think they each have superior skill, but they each bring it in a different way. Konechny has that grit. Crosby's playing with a bunch of grit this tournament too, but Celebrini's a young, skilled guy. So I think he's going to see it through. I think the one thing you worry about with Celebrini being so young is matchups as the tournament goes on, but they've been great. And the one guy I want to talk about is Travis Konechny. I mean, what a tournament he's had to start here. Each line that he's played on in the first 2 games, I really believe has been the best line. I think he's getting a great opportunity playing with some superstars. He hasn't really had that in Philadelphia. He's had great players, but not to the quality of Crosby and McKinnon. And it's bringing out the best in him. 2 goals, 2 assists, 10 shots, all over it in the first couple games here. So I'm looking at Travis Konechny as being a real driver, and he's having a great tournament so far.
And Mark, you talked earlier about young players raising eyebrows. I think you can look at both Adam Fantilli and Kent Johnson, who had a big game last game, scoring 2 goals. And you got to think that the comfort that they're showing, obviously, with Dean Evason being their coach in Columbus and coming here, these guys are getting ready to play at an NHL level with some incredible players. And this tournament is all about building chemistry, and it's all about building depth scoring throughout your lineup. And I think through the first couple games right now for Canada, they're getting both of that, or both of those, from all 4 of their lines, where you're seeing chemistry and you're seeing contributions. And Kent Johnson, you just see his game getting better and better. And all the talk about Celebrini with Crosby, this guy is learning a lot, too, playing with those guys, including his center iceman, who's Ryan O'Reilly, who brings a big resume himself to this tournament.
You know, not a lot of teams can say we have a future Hall of Famer in net. And in Team Canada's situation, you could say both those guys one day could be in the Hall of Fame. Marc-Andre Fleury played against Latvia today. We'll see Jordan Binnington. Are you all surprised to see Binnington return to the World Championship for a 2nd straight year?
Yeah, I am, just because of the year that he's had. I mean, it's a long season. He backstopped Canada to the 4 Nations gold. He had a long run with the St. Louis Blues, going all the way to Game 7, having to be the go-to guy. But I think the reason why he's here is because he wants to be the go-to guy for Canada. All this talk about who the guy was going to be in net, he established himself as being that guy at the 4 Nations, and now coming here. Last year, you know, you look at his tournament, it wasn't something that he's probably too proud of, but he gets another crack at it with a stronger team, and he wants to say, okay, I want to come here and help win this team win again.
Yeah, this guy plays with a ton of fire. He plays with a lot of emotion. You see it, sometimes he's out there trying to fight guys during the regular season in the NHL, but he plays with a lot of fire, and I think for him it's redemption a little bit. You know, last year the tournament didn't go so well for Canada, and I think that for him, he wants to come back and get that gold medal.
And it's a nice game for him to get his feet wet too. First game of the tournament against France. Doesn't feel like he has to be overworked right now.
And the numbers don't always tell the whole story with Binnington, right? Because he's been a big game goalie, and even in the 4 Nations, where even going into the gold medal game, you wondered, do we have enough in net? And they clearly did, and he was even better than Connor Hellebuyck in that game.
And this is an opportunity for him to build on that, too, to be the big game goaltender, because that's what this tournament is. It's a build with every game where you get stronger opponents, get into the medal round. I mean, you look at the way he played last year. He was their go-to guy, but you'd have to say he didn't bring his best last tournament. So a chance for him to redeem himself, like I said, with a lot stronger lineup.
And sometimes it's those big saves that matter more than the amount of saves you make, right? And he's proven that he makes those big clutch saves saves at big moments.
Makes a defenseman feel pretty good, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we're just a few moments away from Canada against France. It's an embarrassment of riches throughout the lineup, including in net. And with more on that, let's hear from Canada's head coach, Dean Evason, with our Lindsay Hamilton.
Dylan Garang got the start in Game 1, Marc-Andre Fleury in Game 2. Now Jordan Binnington's with the team. How do you foresee the goaltending rotation carry out?
One game at a time. We'll evaluate, every game and make decisions based on that. It's no different than, what we've all done back home and with our teams. We've communicate, with everybody involved and hopefully make the right decision on who gets the call.
We know we're going to learn and grow tonight. We're going to face adversity, but it's also a privilege, so we want to enjoy it and give it our ultimate best. Like I said, it's an honor to play for us, France versus Canada, and especially with some of the players they have. It's a special day for us, so everyone's excited and got to give it all on the ice.
So our starting goaltenders, as we mentioned, Jordan Binnington will play his first game of this year's tournament. Julian Junka has a 17-17-0 record in the Extra Liga. He had a goals against average under 3 and a .910 save percentage. France has been in a lot of tight games so far, very close to upsetting Finland earlier in the preliminary round, and they're looking to do what they did in 2014 and upset the Canadians at the World Hockey Championship. Meanwhile, in Herning, Kazakhstan has a great opportunity to win their second game of the tournament as they face Hungary. We'll get you set for that game when we were.
Alex Texier back in the French lineup on day 5 of the 2025 World Hockey Championship. Team Canada off to a 2-0 start, takes on France. And the officials, the referees, Jan Rybak from Czechia, Mikko Kokakori from Finland, Jurgen Dratrek from Czechia, David Sunde of Latvia are the lines, with these officials being evaluated as they were at the World Junior Championship for the upcoming Olympics in Milan in 2026. Jared Belmar and Sidney Crosby exchanging the traditional gifts. And behind the Canadian bench is Dean Evason, who thought his team got a wake-up call against Latvia after a bit of a slow start. They went on to win that game 7-1. 27 years of coaching experience for Evason. And for France, behind the bench is 44-year-old Yorick Trey, who was a member of the 2014 French team that beat Canada at the World Championship in Belarus. Nicolas Ritz and Pierre Belmar on the ice for the French today were both members of that team as well. Nathan McKinnon off to a flying start with 4 points in 2 games. Has goals in back-to-back for Canada. And starting in goal for Canada and appearing at the World Championship for the second consecutive year is Jordan Binnington, a 31-year-old St. Louis netminder. 8 games played last year. The winning goaltender for Canada at the Four Nations face-off. And for France, Julian Junka, 27-year-old who plays in the Slovak League, playing in the World Championship for the 3rd time. He's 0-5 in his career at the World Championship. There goes the French goalie of the year in 2023. But he moved on to Slovakia. For Canada, the home team in this game wearing its reds, as Gebe moves that back around. France beat Canada. That's a quick chance there, turned away by
Welcome to the game, Junka. You're ready to go.
French beat Canada in 1995 at the World Championship. In the Helsinki portion, the medal round was played here in Stockholm. And there have been some closer calls than you might expect. Now a steal by Konechny. Travis Konechny back across to Crosby. Here's Celebrini with it. Macklin Celebrini. Back to Crosby. To Mackenzie Weegar with a shot. That's gloved by Junka. Drops it down for Ritz. These teams have also met at the World Junior Championship. France qualified once. That was the 02 tournament in Czechia. As there's Konechny with a shot. And Junka makes a save. Crosby feeds it off the side of the goal. The French team had qualified the year before with a goaltender who had French, Canadian, and Canadian citizenship. He aged out, and the French felt it. on Christmas Day, Canada beat them 15-0. In comes Fantilli with it. Fantilli plays that back for Brandon Montour. Here's Mike Matheson. In around Texier, centers it. And the centering pass by Ryan O'Reilly, knocked down by Kent Johnson, and played back for Montour. Montour in for Johnson. Got a couple of goals in that win over Latvia as Montour knocks it down. Played back down to the French zone, icing called against Canada.
Yunka gets into the game early, a couple really good chances. Forster crossbody one-timer, he cuffs that with the elbow. Had to get off the line quickly to make that save. Another one shortly thereafter. And third game for France, third different starting goalie.
Right.
They have rotated all through their goalie depth chart.
At the point, Gibbe plays that back, and a long shot deflected wide from Johan Kulad. The French had the Finns down. Led 3-1 with a minute and a half to go in the third period. Eeli Tolvanen scored twice in less than a minute to tie it up, and the Finns won it in overtime. Tim Bozon for his brother Kevin, playing a line here with Belmar. Both the Bozon brothers scored in that game. And it's brought out by Phil Deneau. Jumping it across the French line, Deneau. Sharp angle shot knocked away by Junka. Played back in by Jared Spurgeon to Deneau. That pass skipped away from Braden Shan. Barrett Hayton. The pass moves back to Spurgeon, drops it back. The shot taken by Sanheim was blocked. And Yorka moves it back down for the French. France is technically in the top division for the 16th straight year. The French were relegated in 2019, but in 2020, no qualification tournaments were played. And then when Russia and Belarus were suspended by the IIHF, France was re-promoted as one of the top remaining teams.
They understand their tournament will likely come down to a game against Slovenia, trying to stay and make it 17 years straight. York Trey was pretty pragmatic about the loss to Finland.
Yeah, I mean,
acknowledging it's frustrating, but it's not like we were controlling play to get the win anyways.
McKinnon shoots it, pinballs around in front. Tyson Forster back to McKinnon. Nathan McKinnon, the reigning NHL MVP, moves in behind the goal. McKinnon slips that back to Riker Evans. Back for McKinnon. Gets a step. Got poke check there by Yorka.
Yorka was committed to that poke check.
Gallet lost the handle. Evans back across to Uyghur. Shoots. Scores. No, hit the goalpost. It came out. The referee pointed the net. Now says no goal. In comes Texier. He shoots. Bouncing puck in front. Pennington steered that away.
Tyson Forster certainly thought so. He had his hands in the air and he was standing right in front. But if it would have gone in, we would hear a horn go.
Connecting. Slides it back down to the French zone. Celebrini picks up that turnover, sends it back in front. That's tipped away by Busk. And now Connecting back with it. Charles Beltran back down to the Canadian zone as Crosby goes back. Canada's got 7 players who have won a World Championship. 7 have won the Stanley Cup. 7 have won the World Junior. Crosby's done all 3.
Mackenzie Weegar, he's won a World Championship before, and he almost opens the scoring here. That clean thunk off the post. Forster didn't obviously see it right across the goal line. Yunka completely blocked out from the screen in front.
Weegar, the top defenseman in the 2023 World Championship when Canada won gold.
Very much a player here on an Olympic evaluation as well.
Montour, long shot. And Junka on the deflection knocks that away. There's Montour again. Down to Johnson for Montour. Winds and shoots from a sharp angle. That deflects wide. Johnson back on it. Taps that back for Matheson, but it's picked off. And then moved ahead by Kevin Spinozzi. For Tim Bozon back in front for his brother Kevin. And the Canadian net is diagonal as Spinozzi collided with it. Spinozzi, a native of Granby, Quebec.
During the rush, and there'll be lots of traffic in front of Junka all game long. Kent Johnson knocks that one down but catches pad. Kent Johnson scoring 2 goals last game. His first ever 2-goal game play for Canada, despite his prolific World Junior numbers. Never scored 2 before. For Canada, that is.
Sanheim gains center ice and wrists that back down to the French zone. France has lost 14 of its last 15 games at the World Championship. The trick is to win the right game.
Which they clearly have if they've been up for 16 years.
In comes Hayton. Bouncing puck in front. Back across for Deneau. That misfired. Brought back by Aurelien Dow. Spurgeon. That hit the referee on the way out. Bank back around to Sanheim. Quillity as it go off the no, back in the corner for Sanheim, and Travis Sanheim snaps that pass ahead for Forrester, who's busting in. Knocked down and brought back by Jules Boff. Played for the Iowa Heartlanders, the ECHL this year. Chip back down to the French zone, and back to pick it up is Gebe. Leclerc fell. Forster's got it, centers it, backhand shot, and Horvat scores. Bo Horvat with a nifty move in tight has his 3rd of the World Championship.
That was pretty by Bo Horvat. 2 power play goals coming into the game. Playing on the first line with Forster and McKinnon, if we're going to call it that. And a good forecheck, taking advantage of a fall by Leclerc, who stepped on the puck. But the touch around the defenders in tight. And then the cheeky little off-speed chip. It was so nice. Just drag it through and then underneath the arm. Junka to open the scoring. Focused forecheck for Canada turns it over to create the opportunity.
He is 22-2 on face-offs for Canada so far in the tournament. So his hands are working all over the place.
Bo Horvat, talk about Olympic participation. He'd be a guy who might want to play himself onto that team. With plays like this, why not? Gebe reaching on a poke check. And Horvat slides right by him. Good look on the official cam. And for Forster, that's also his first point of the tournament. Will feel good to get one on the board.
His first World Championship, played in the 2022 World Junior Championship for Canada, won a gold medal in the summer. Here comes Horvat again, takes the lead pass, another backhand shot.
Too hard.
Junka makes the save. McKinnon pivots back in the corner. Back at the line. Here is McKinnon. Brings it back across. Horvat, another shot that goes just wide. Scooped up by Noah Dobson. Dobson back to Uyghur. Uyghur to Dobson. To Horvat. Flips it back down to McKinnon. And Horvat shoots. That deflects wide. Broke the stick of Texier. Now Uyghur maintains possession. Mackenzie Uyghur on the line. Can't hold it. Flips it ahead to McKinnon. Snaps that pass in for Konechny, moving in and shooting. And Junka makes the save on that. Bo Horvat has the opening goal of the game. Canada, a 1-0 lead. Bo Horvat, the 30-year-old from London, Ontario. 3-time 30-goal scorer in the NHL. Playing the wing and center here.
He's playing the wing and taking faceoffs is really what he's doing, but he's doing a good job of both.
Crosby moves it back around to Matheson. Crosby back on it. Crosby feeds that back to Matheson, but the pass draws Montour out. Celebrini moves in, puts that back to Crosby. Macklin Celebrini. In for Ringer, chance of Konechny at the goalpost. He has 2 goals against Latvia, but should probably have about 6 by now. Konechny back down to Crosby. Centers it, that's kicked away by Junka. Celebrini centered it. It's taken away by Leclerc. Guillaume Leclerc won a French League championship with Grenoble this year. Which sounds like an entirely agreeable place to play.
A lot of those French locations sound not too bad.
In Ligue Magnus, the French top league. In comes Kent Johnson, he's poke check. And now Fantilli got a skate on that clearing attempt. Racing back is Jared Spurgeon. And Spurgeon making his international debut for Canada.
Look at Travis Konechny. Just saying, what a pass from Sidney Crosby right to Konechny, just standing there. Anywhere upstairs will do, and he rings it off the outside of the post. The early shoulder check from Crosby, and then a duck. Look out, it's coming right back at you. That's where, how do guys know where everyone is? Because they're always looking. And Konechny really does a good job getting open.
He and Crosby go nose to nose in Philadelphia-Pittsburgh battles. As Leclerc moves in, Guillaume Leclerc centers it. It's blocked by Sanheim. Out for Johnson. Kent Johnson risks it back in. For Fantilli. For Johnson. Johnson winds in. Back for Thompson. A hard shot that was blocked. As Fabian Colody got in the way. And at the line now, Evans can't hold it. Riker Evans back across to Johnson. Kent Johnson's got some room. Wraparound try. Junka makes the stop. Able to hang on to the rebound with Fantilli digging for the loose spot.
Junka had to work to get across for that one as Kent Johnson had a good gap. Junka's right pad gets outside the post. That's not where you want it to be, but he's able to scramble back and get over to the far post just in time for Kent Johnson's wraparound attempt.
And once again, the French ice the puck. Last year, the French finished 14th. They beat Poland. That allowed them to stay up as Poland was relegated. 11 of these French players have played in 5 or more World Championships, including Belmar, who is playing in his 12th.
Without as many players to choose from, there is a longer window once you're on the national team to continue to get recalled to it.
France will be the host nation of the 2030 Olympic Summer Games, so the hockey team will get an automatic berth in the hockey competition. Belmar tries to chip that back down as Hayden goes after it. It's not automatic. Shouldn't say automatic.
As long as they can prove they're not going to embarrass themselves.
Evans shoots at the puck's back in front. I mean, they're ranked in the top 20.
They're already past that point.
Right.
So, virtually automatic.
Yorka moves that back ahead. But because of that, we've mentioned this before, because host teams got an automatic berth in 2018, 22, 26, and 30, you've got lower ranked teams in. I mean, Slovakia has to qualify every year.
Be ranked 8th, they'll be ranked 9th. That's the answer.
Horvat. And across the line, drops that back for McKinnon. That pass just in behind him, and Sasha Trail has it back. In his 15th World Championship for the French. Been around so long, his brother's now the coach.
You see Bo Horvat has had a productive start to the game this evening. Opening the scoring on a really nice move through the defender with the backhand chip. Was almost in alone, went to the backhand again. This time, Junka was able to make the save. But what I've liked about Horvat is he understands quickly how to play with Nate MacKinnon. And that is, you give MacKinnon the puck in the offensive zone, and then you go and get open. Don't support him. Don't try to set picks. Just get out of his way and find open ice. And Horvat is getting shot after shot after shot while everyone gets drawn into MacKinnon. Seems obvious, but not everyone can do it as well as Horvat is.
Baudon moves in. And the shot stopped by Binnington. It was France's first shot with about 8.5 to go in the opening period. Montour skated by the puck. Bertrand with it. Charles Bertrand throws that towards the goal. Bouncing puck. Goes back to Bertrand. Holds and shoots. Tapped in front by Rec. Binnington down. And Baudon couldn't poke that home. Best pressure by France. And now Crosby back the other way. Ahead for Celebrini. Backlund Celebrini. Winds his way and got tackled there by Baudon. And Spurgeon back to pick it up. Around for Sanheim. O'Reilly lead pass for Kent Johnson. Catches that pass, feeds it back to Cooley with a shot, scores! A lightning strike for Canada as Johnson finds Cooley. And Will Cooley has his first at a World Championship.
And Will Cooley, who has started the game as the 13th forward, jumps out after these great chances. Actually almost put that one in on Binnington. He fights off this, and he touched there. Bouton could have tucked it in the empty net, but the play by Ryan O'Reilly at the bench really set this up. He stepped on the ice, stopped it with his skate, sealed it with his stick, and then set up Johnson and Cooley on a 2-on-1 quick pass, and a nice release to the top corner. Cooley, who very quietly had 20 goals this year for the New York Rangers.
Second round pick in 2020. He was a gold medalist as well in the 2022 World Junior Championship, the summer tournament for Canada. Where Kent Johnson played a major role, scored the golden goal against Finland. As Binnington out to play it, looked for his backhand out to O'Reilly.
No stick.
No stick to the defender for Gaillet. And there's a quick shot by Johnson again. Bouloud moves back. Forced there by Johnson. Kept alive by Schenn, and long shot by Sanheim, kicked out by Junka. Braden Schenn holds as Canada changes and whips that back down to the French zone. Shots are 10-3 in favor of Canada, a 2-0 lead. Hayton back in front for Schenn. Puck bounced off Texier right to him. Philip Deneau. Swings that down to Hayton. And Barrett Hayton crisscrossing it with Dobson, feeds him the puck. Back in the corner to Schenn. Schenn back to Hayton. And the puck bounced off the skate of Trail and back to center ice. Uyghur got bottled up there for a moment. Now Dobson finds Hayton. Slips in across the line, drops it back for Deneau. And Deneau rings it back around for Schenn. Down to Hayton. Across to Uyghur, who's in deep. And now Matheson steps up as Rec tries to knock that by him. Ritz, lead pass for Texier. Montour comes back. And the French are hot about that as icing is called.
And Will Cooley jumping right off the bench and onto the score sheet. And the French defenders, Spinozzi was going for a change, so he's wide. Giving Gabe all by himself and no gap, no pace. That's a tough way to play, and even tougher for Junka. He had a cross beat block aside. Junka has been busy in the first period, 11 shots already.
Move back down to the French zone. Yorka back for it earlier today. Latvia beat Slovenia 5-2. Germany beat Norway by the same score in Herning, Denmark. Hungary playing Kazakhstan right now in Herning, and Hungary leading 1-0. Tight turnaround for the French tomorrow. They play Slovakia in the 4 o'clock game here. Forster holds the line, feeds it back across for Matheson, shoots! That went just wide. Forster chips that free, but Yorka back to pick it up. Vincent Yorka, a former Nepean Raider who spent 4 years at Laurentian University. McKinnon back on it. Scooped up by Gebby. Tap back to Yorka. His 8th year in the French League. For the vast majority of players in France, it is not a full-time living. So Leclerc was straightened up there by Evans. Sanheim. Off Celebrini. Crosby gets in there first. Crosby tries to knock that free for Celebrini. Macklin Celebrini. Crisscrossing with Crosby. And Crosby drops it back down to Konechny. Worked free by Konechny. And finally moved out by Dow. Leclerc. Fires it high off the glass, drops down to Evans as both teams change. Inside 4 to go here in the opening period.
Impressed with the discipline of Canada on the quick shifts, changing when appropriate, not overstaying even if they have the puck.
In comes Fantilli with it now. Fantilli. Back for Uyghur. He finds Dobson, a backhand shot that Joka got a stick on to knock it wide. Now banked ahead by Busk. At center ice, Dobson chips it ahead. Busk looks to Tim Bozon, trying to find his brother Kevin, but the play's offside at the Canadian line. 3:15 to go in the opening period. Canada, a 2-0 lead on France. Will Cooley, Tyson Forster on the Canadian bench. Both making their World Championship debut on a star-studded Canadian roster.
That still does have a couple slots available if they were so inclined.
Yeah,
they don't like bringing guys over and then sitting NHL players.
Right, so that's the trick, is it's happened in the past, but you ask someone to come over here. There's Braden Shen with it. He famously gave up his spot in 2015 when Sidney Crosby said he'd come, and Shen stepped aside. Deneau for the sign of the goal to Hayton. Now Shen battles for it. Deneau pivots away from Gallet. Back at the line. Long shot by Dobson. Rebound. Uyghur stopped by Junka. Now fed back in front. Texier moves ahead with Pay. And the pass ahead to Sacha Trey, but Dobson came back on him. Here's Baudon with it. Louis Baudon. He played 4 years at Lake Superior State.
Texier straightened up Uyghur.
Yes. Every shoot off the pipe and out. Baudon shoots again, tipped in front, Bennington leans and is able to make the save.
Uyghur going right back after Texier for the cold shoulder in the corner.
2:03 to go in the opening period. Canada with a 2-0 lead. France a shootout win in 2014 and a victory in Helsinki in 1995. France's only quarterfinal appearance in 1998. France has never won a medal at a top-level IIHF competition. The French did take part in the very first World Championship back in 1930. And France will host the 2028 World Championship in Paris and Lyon. In comes McKinnon, gets a step on Yorka. McKinnon throws it back in front for Montour. That's knocked away and brought back by Leck. Anthony Leck. By the center it, knocked down by McKinnon. And the French will host, as we mentioned, the Winter Olympics in 2030, with the hockey being played in Nice.
Both of those tournaments sound like something I would want to play in.
May we?
Tough teams to make, tough broadcast teams to make.
It'll be a long lineup.
Yes, clearly. Look at the back pressure. There's Horvat and McKinnon both tracking down. Rash, as he's trying to pull away. Good luck with that. Good stick on stick check. No hooking, no slashing. Horvat getting it done at both ends of the ice.
Tim Bozon across the line. Goes out towards the goal. Tipped there by his brother Kevin. And Binnington steers that away. A sharp angle. That shot taken by Gallet is gloved down by Binnington. The pass misfired for Konechny.
Good use of that. Binnington loves to play the puck quickly and often.
Gallet up for Tim Bozon, trying to find his brother Kevin stick again. Here's Gallet back on it. Ritz knocks that down. Spurgeon trying to poke it ahead. There is Tim Bozon. Works it back across. That hard shot whistled wide by Spinozzi. Another chance, this time from Gebe. And Binnington turns that away. And here is Johnson waiting for teammates to join him off the bench. Ryan O'Reilly comes in hunting for the puck as well. And O'Reilly digging that free. Cooley trying to poke that back. And at the line, Dobson can't quite hold it. Evans. Or Cooley chips it on goal and knocked away by Junka. Time winding down here in the period. Dobson back down to O'Reilly. And time expires. Canada outshoots France 13-6 in the first period and goes to the dressing room with a 2-0 lead on day 5 of the 2025 World Hockey Championship. Will Cooley and Bo Horvat have the Canadian goals for the opening 20 minutes. Hungary has a 2-0 lead on Kazakhstan after one period in Herning. Whoa! Whatever they're using for smelling salts here seem quite potent.
Got the extra strength, apparently.
Yeah. Paris Vidolinch, the Latvian coach, tried one in the last game and almost knocked him on his butt.
It was moved to tears.
Teams will start the second period 5-on-5. There's been no power plays in the game so far. Canada will have Austria Thursday. Belmar for the face-off. Belmar, a teammate of 5 of these Canadian players at one point in his 10-year NHL career. McKinnon up for Forster. The play's offside at the French blue line.
Well, you give Canada credit because entering games like this, with a team like Canada has, it would be easy to assume you're going to win, perhaps get in some bad habits, maybe not bring the appropriate focus to the game. I thought the first 10 minutes of the game, Canada was locked in. Very good on the forecheck, responsible with their puck decisions, and that's half the challenge in these early round games for Canada, making sure they play their game.
Forster plays that back to Sanheim and across to Spurgeon. Jared Spurgeon throws that towards the goal. The bouncing puck goes back to Kevin Bozon. And his brother Tim breaking out. Belmar jumping in as well. Rink wide pass to Belmar. Too far for him. Now McKinnon, who was a teammate of Belmar's in Colorado, flips it back down to the French zone. Gallet leaves it there for Spinozzi. But his minor hockey in Kingston, Ontario. 5 years in the OHL. Has been in the French League for 4 years. Yorka. Up to Ritz. Rink wide to Tre, but the play's offside at the Canadian line.
And the veteran Sasha Tre, brother of head coach Yorik.
Yeah, plays for Grenoble. They won the French League Championship this year.
And he was the captain of that Grenoble team.
Yeah.
Has been around as long as I've been coming to these tournaments. This is his 15th World Championship. Now, he would tell you that's why they always can stay up. He never plays in the 1A division. That's all him.
Crosby back around for Dobson. Rink wide pass for Celebrini, up for Uyghur. And Uyghur winds back in. Spins that back down to Celebrini. Macklin Celebrini. Crisscrossing with Crosby. And now bounced high in the air by Busk. And back up to center ice. Pino. Back around for Busk. Jordan Perret, an important player for the French, is not dressed for this game today. As that crisp pass goes from Montour to Johnson across to Celebrini. Macklin Celebrini. Back down to Montour to Crosby. Centers it, tipped wide by Johnson. Here's Crosby back with it. Feeds that back to Montour. Montour shoots. And the save made by Junka. As Bertrand spins back, stolen by Johnson. For O'Reilly, and jumping up now is Mike Matheson. Picked up by Baudon. Out with Bertrand. Reck. Anthony Reck shoots. That's gloved by Binnington. Well, hang on to that with Bertrand lurking dangerously.
I haven't even had a chance to talk Jordan Binnington in this game. He's taking 6 shots. Came over after the St. Louis Blues. Could not quite get it done against the Winnipeg Jets in a ferocious first-round series.
With a ferocious finish.
Wild finish. That would be tough to get over, but one way to get over it. Get right back to playing.
Well, Binnington would be the presumptive front-runner for the Canadian goaltending job at the Olympics in 2026. As Shen moves in and shoots. And Junka makes the stop on that.
I also think for Jordan Binnington, who came to the tournament last year, played fine, probably didn't play great at the end. And what makes Jordan Binnington's reputation what it is that in the clutch moments, Binnington is rock solid. So I think the chance to kind of get a redo on last year as well, part of the reason that Binnington joined his captain Braden Shen on the way over.
And the 2 St. Louis Blues are here.
And I don't know if it's too early to think about the Triple Crown, because he's won a Stanley Cup. He needs 2 of the 3, but with the Worlds here and Canada with a great team and the Olympics just next year, him likely on it. I'm not sure where that would resonate in the mind of a player like Jordan Binnington, but it's a possibility for him.
His backup, Marc-Andre Fleury, can join the Triple Gold Club with a gold medal here. He has the Stanley Cup and the Olympic gold medal to his credit. Sanheim takes that pass from Hayton. And Barrett Hayton works back out for Sanheim. Feeds back across to Spurgeon. And Jared Spurgeon back for Sanheim. The center pass knocked away. A chance out for Leclerc. Guillaume Leclerc on the breakaway. In behind Sanheim. Backhand shot lifted high.
Good race by Sanheim to close from a long distance away.
Pino. Long shot bounced back in front. Held at the line. Bosk a long shot. That deflected just wide. Sanheim back with it. Tim Bozon. Feeds that to Belmar. Plays it back to Bosk with a shot. That might have hit Leclerc in front and staggered him a bit. Here's Bosk back with it. Another wrist shot that's blocked by Deneau and moved back to center ice. Kevin Bozon feeds it in front. Spurgeon knocked that away. At the line, kept alive by Bosk.
Spurgeon and Sanheim have been out there for an eternity. They need some help from their forwards to get this one out of the zone. Penalty coming up Someone clipped Bozon on the way to the bench.
Kevin Bozon was taken down, so interference is the call, and Nathan McKinnon's hot about it.
You see Nathan McKinnon just skating forward. He's got a point there. Bozon backs right into him. Now, I guess he's skating forward, but what's he supposed to do is Leclerc feels Sanheim closing, is a little bit late in his shift as well, forced to go to his backhand and shovel it over the top of the net by a hair.
So the French get the power play. They're 2 for 3 in the tournament. They have the highest percentage in the tournament. Scored both of them in the game against Finland, and the Bozon brothers are the ones who scored them, Tim and Kevin. Beck plays it back around, and Horvat slides that back down the ice. Canada's killed off all 6 opposition power plays it's faced so far. So Canada's got Austria Thursday, Slovakia Saturday, then the back-to-back Finland Monday, Sweden Tuesday to close out the preliminary round. Texier spins away from O'Reilly. Alex Texier, who missed the first couple of games, lost the handle, and O'Reilly plays it back for Spurgeon. Slaps that pass to O'Reilly. In with Forster shorthanded. O'Reilly walks right in. The pass was blocked by Spinozzi. Now Forster a chance. He fed on that. He had Junke at his mercy as Belmar comes back the other way. Pierre Belmar. Swings that back for Spinozzi. Across the Tim Bozon with a shot that was blocked by Forster, and he sends it down the ice. Spinozzi back with it. Up for Kevin Bozon, drops that back to Tim Bozon. Their dad Philippe, inducted to the IIHF Hall of Fame some 18 years ago. If there's a job that Philippe Bozon has not had with the French Hockey Association, I'm not sure what it is. He's played, coached, been a manager, broadcaster. Here's Deneau. Back in front, that shot by Celebrini turned away by Junka.
Celebrini getting a little taste of the penalty kill.
Yes.
I don't think we've seen that. Did not see that very often in San Jose.
No shots for France on that power play. Now Celebrini for McKinnon out of the box. Nathan McKinnon. Plays it back around to Celebrini. Quality. Gains the Canadian line, looks back for Leclerc, but he was off stride. He lost the hand. Now McKinnon brings it back. McKinnon got around Clino. Busk at his pocket pick by Celebrini, trying to thread that pass ahead. Leclerc broke that up, and Celebrini gets it back for Evans. In for McKinnon. To Crosby. Back in front for Celebrini, miscued that. And Cleon sends it back down the ice. Evans winds away from Colity. To Crosby. And Cleon back with it. Busk throws that pass ahead for Anthony Leck. He's alone in there as the French are changing. Now picked up by Cooley. Along with Johnson and Fantilli. Bertrand moves that to Baudon. And Louis Baudon steps the pass in for Bertrand. Charles Bertrand backhands that towards the goal, swept away by Binnington. And Mike Matheson back on it. Baudon was brought down. Montour back across to Cooley. In for Montour, that's knocked away by Kevin Bozon. Bounces back to Fantilli with a shot. Johnson reaching for it, knocked away from him. And racing back is Horvat to scoop up the loose puck. Lead pass to Montour as Canada's changing. Brandon Montour. Right for the stick of Forster. That missed, and now McKinnon has it back. Forster. In for McKinnon. Back down to Spurgeon. Across he goes to Sanheim. In the corner to Horvat. Forster with a quick shot, and Juka the save on that. Moved down the ice and right into Binnington by Coulot. Coulot for Bozon. Tim Bozon moves up the center ice to Sacha Trey. To Belmar, the two veterans busting in. Belmar spins around Uyghur. Fires that back. And that's hammered wide by Spinozzi. Uyghur out to center ice off the heel of Horvat. And now picked off by McKinnon. In comes Nathan McKinnon with Horvat. Horvat back across to Forster. Shoots short side. And Juka makes the stop on that. Kick free by Horvat. McKinnon. Back for Evans with a shot up high. Juka the stop. And he'll hang on to that. Midway through the second period, Canada a 2-0 lead on France here in Stockholm. Sidney Crosby drawing it up on the ice for Canada, the 37-year-old from Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia. 3 Stanley Cup, twice the Hart Trophy winner as the MVP, twice the Art Ross Trophy winner as the point leader in the NHL, twice the Rocket Richard winner as the leading goal scorer, and twice the Conn Smythe Trophy winner as the playoff MVP.
We're running out of room on the old mantelpiece.
Yeah. 2 Olympic gold medals. So a gold medal here at the World Championship would give him the double triple gold club.
And the fact that he wants to come and play with the jam he played with against Latvia, where he was involved physically from the get-go, tells you how much he loves playing and how much he loves playing for Canada and representing his country.
Celebrini brings it out. Feeds it back across. Konecny with a shot. Juka to save. There are 3 members of the Triple Gold Club who've done it twice. Slava Fetisov and Igor Larionov. And Peter Forsberg.
Peter Forsberg, right, 94 gold. I mean, what other gold medal did he win? The 94 gold on the postage stamp.
Yes.
Of course, as Konecny, another good chance for Travis Konecny. Just a little bit wide on that pass, and so Jonka had a chance to get across, but if you want to learn how to get to the spots, just follow Konecny around the ice.
Uyghur a long shot that was blocked by Belmar. Shots are 21-8 in favor of Canada. Belmar across to Tim Bozon. Shoots. Loved by Binnington. He'll hang on to that.
And the other part about Canada that becomes interesting at this point in the tournament is that third game, the lines start to settle in. And so if you are someone who's trying to find a role, they don't tend to switch them around quite as often going forward. So other than maybe the 4th line where there are 4 forwards, top 3 lines seem to be finding some continuity.
Dobson pokes that around.
Unless they bring somebody else over, of course. Which, again,
that's a tricky business. And again, you know, different for European teams for a couple of reasons. They're already here.
They're coming here for the summer regardless, right. So they're on their way home.
But asking someone to fly here, make the commitment, and then sit.
The year that I played, the Detroit Red Wings lost out in the playoffs, and they flew over Larry Murphy, Chris Draper, Kirk Maltby, you know, Marty Lapointe. Great guys, but Brendan Morrison, one of our best players, sat. And we ended up actually losing the semifinals. And the guys were a lot left thinking, we could have done that without the reinforcements, forcing a guy to sit who'd been there for a month in Russia playing. So that is the challenge for Canada and the U.S.
Coulot plays that back in. There's Texier on it. Alex Texier, the St. Louis Blues. That knocked away. Texier was drafted by Columbus in the 2nd round in 2017. Coulot moves in, but doesn't get there in time, and icing called against the French.
Dean Evason, who always looks pretty wired behind the bench. He oozes intensity. He certainly played that way when he's a player. But you have to have a bit of a different approach here than you would maybe in the regular season
Right.
with Columbus. You can't grind on the guy. You can't tear a strip off a guy when he does something wrong. Certainly not early in a tournament, as you have to respect the commitment that guys have had in even coming.
Johnson plays that in. Now Fantilli back with it. What a job he did in Columbus this year. Had them in the race right to the end.
Yeah. He will get strong Coach of the Year votes. Even though he's not a finalist, he would have picked up a lot of votes.
O'Reilly tries to center. It goes off Ritz and back down to the Canadian zone. Long lead pass. Caught by Spurgeon.
How's your palm?
O'Reilly for Johnson. That pass missed. Brought back by Dell. Dell moves in and shoots. Fired that wide. Fantilli has a quick look. Up for O'Reilly. Ryan O'Reilly for Jared Spurgeon. Jumping up to O'Reilly. Feeds it back in front. That was knocked away by Leclerc.
Good back check there. Fantilli would have been in alone.
Guillaume Leclerc gains a Canadian line. Elon Uyghur. Leclerc still on it. That pass was blocked by McKinnon. Leclerc brought down, and Forster plays it back around for Uyghur. Uyghur lead pass for Forster. Now up for Cleon. That pass in for Bertrand goes off the leg of Matheson. Chopped up by Uyghur, held the line by Boudon. And McKinnon was almost off to the races there. Matheson for McKinnon. And McKinnon with it. Lele Blutchen going up here in Stockholm. McKinnon was spilled there by Gallet. Now McKinnon with a chance at the side of the goal. Zek got a stick on that to knock it away. Anthony Zek. Banks that wide. Now back on it. Puts it wide of the goal. Tim Bozon. Gallet tees it up and shoots. That was off the skate of Montour and wide. Connecting. Chips it back down to the French zone. Connecting. Drops that back to Crosby. Centers it. That's knocked away by Yorka. Belmar. Cross for Kevin Bozon. That pass was deflected away by Celebrini. Among other things that Celebrini did in his great rookie year, he was top 5 in battles won. In puck battles won. Mostly veteran players that are tops of the league in that. Crosby. Back for Sanheim to connecting. Back in for Travis Sanheim. Bounces back to Celebrini. Macklin Celebrini feeds it down to Crosby. Shovels that back, and Sanheim ripped that wide. Put high in the air, back down the Canadian zone as Spurgeon's back to pick it up. To Celebrini. Celebrini goes rink wide. Yorka got a stick on that. And Tim Bozon feeds it back down to the Canadian zone as Dobson's back to pick it up. Now Hayton drops it back, and Dobson leaned on that and just missed. Texier almost off to the races, but Matheson knocked it down and feeds it back into the French zone.
You'd have a hard time catching Texier if he got in alone. He is a speedster.
Now Deneau in with a chance. And the rebound tapped wide by Shan. Texier puts it ahead for Trey. We'll be on the other end of that speed spectrum.
Jim's got a little slow getting up after that collision with Deneau.
Yeah, he looks like he's a little off here as Dobson comes in with it. Braden Shan sends it back in front for Uyghur. That goes wide. Shan feeds that back to Evans, and Texier slammed into him. Now brought in by Hayton. Looking in front for Evans. And moved out by Collery. 4 to go here. in the second period. Cooley was across the line, but the play is offside. 3:59 to go here in the second period. Canada go with a 2-0 lead. Canada fourth last year at the World Championship, lost the bronze medal game to Sweden. Dean Evison was an assistant coach in that team. Canada has been to the semifinals in 9 straight World Championships. Prior to that, they lost 5 straight quarterfinal games.
My first few visits over were in that run of 5 in a row where they lost all the quarters. It was a strange feeling. This is as strong as a roster as I can remember for this tournament from Canada.
Johnson back across to Cooley. And now a penalty coming to France with 3:29 to go. And a cross-checking call will send Canada to the power play for the first time.
Finol knocking over Ryan O'Reilly, which is usually a pretty tall task. O'Reilly's strong on his skates. Finol. There's one.
It's cross-check.
There's 2. That's cross-check. The referee said it for him.
Yes. No. Number 7.
Quick gets away with the first one. Does not get away with the second one. So the power play was scored 3 power play goals in their first game against Slovenia. Goes back to work for the first time in tonight's game.
The 1993 Canadian team was pretty strong in Munich. That was Paul Correa, Eric Lindros, Adam Graves, Mike Gartner, Rod Brindamore, Dave Gagne, Jeff Sanderson, Shane Corson, Mark Recchi.
It's an incredible team. I don't really remember that team. I
finished 4th
in high school at the time, so
it's my first World Championship. So to heck with you.
Since I've retired from the NHL, this feels like the strongest roster they've had for one of these tournaments. As Jan Vacek gets a little repair on his hands. Let's see if they can't find Bo Horvath for a one-timer. Worked quite nicely the first day.
Face-off went back to Montour into McKinnon. McKinnon and Horvath have worked their magic on the power play so far in this tournament. Montour to McKinnon. Shoots. And a great chance ever connecting. He turned away in tight by Junka. Crosby feeds that back to Montour. Can't hold the line.
Here's Sid not happy with that pass. Got away from him.
There's Montour back on it. Down to Konechny. To McKinnon. And McKinnon feeds that back to Konechny for Horvath. The puck. And a bunch of skates, and Horvath couldn't pick it out. Now Montour back with it. Down to Crosby. Crosby walks right in, shoots, scores! Sidney Crosby roofs it. Power play goal, and Canada takes a 3-0 lead.
Well then, Sidney Crosby putting on a show. You try to pressure Canada, it's always going to be dangerous because one good pass, and he gets on the right side of Hugo Gallet. He can't catch him, and Junka thinks he has it sealed. Crosby finally takes it aggressive to the net. Not a lot of room up there, but Crosby finds it without any trouble. The edge work to peel out of the corner and then accelerate. Gallet can't even get a stick on him when he was right beside him on the boards. A beautiful finish.
Sidney Crosby has his first goal of the tournament. He had 3 assists against Latvia. Here's Montour back with it. Shen back across to Montour. That misfired. How about the 2015 Canadian team? Crosby, McKinnon, Spezza, Sagan, Duchesne, O'Reilly.
Now, Nate
Brent
McKinnon
Burns.
then was not Nate McKinnon of today.
Brent Burns and Aaron Ekblad on defense. Ekblad again was a younger player then, but that team won a perfect 10-0 as Texier played it back. That was the first year that the marketing company involved with the IIHF offered a 10 million Swiss franc bonus for posting a 10-0 record. That'd be 10 wins in regulation. Canada rang it off, won the gold medal, won the prize, and it hasn't been seen since.
This team would like to be compared with the results of that team, that's for sure. Who was a net on that team? 2015. Remember?
Martin Jones.
Who had a pretty good run in the late teens.
Who would ask you that, wouldn't you?
But Jordan Binnington right now is considered the best goalie in Canada.
Mike Smith.
Mike Smith also very good. In the moment, was he considered the best goalie, Canadian goalie? Probably not. Carey Price would have been.
Dobson feeds that back. Uyghur is shot kicked out by Juka.
These are good barroom debates, though, but proof is in the pudding. You got to win it in the end if you want to be in that conversation.
There have been lots of great Canadian teams that haven't won. That's true at the World Junior as well.
Yeah, especially that 2000 team came fourth. That was one of the best as well.
If only they'd beaten Austria.
Norway.
Or Norway, sorry, Norway.
We handled Austria no problem.
It was the Norwegians that gave you the trouble.
It was actually the Czech, yeah. Semis.
Time winding down here in the second period. McKinnon's got it back. And his pal Sidney Crosby has extended the Canadian lead with his 13th career goal in 21 games at the World Championship. 3-0 Canada leads as we head to the second intermission. Set for the start of the third period here. Sidney Crosby's first goal for Canada was scored at the 2004 World Junior Championship. A 7-2 win over Switzerland 7,807 days ago. Jordan Binnington in his second straight World Championship has not allowed a goal on 10 shots thus far. Well, Julian Junka has been beaten 3 times on 24 shots, including most recently by Crosby, who roofed one on him for his first in this World Championship.
First for the World Championship, 34th career goal playing for Canada for Sidney Crosby. It has been a long and illustrious run. Famously captaining Canada to several consecutive tournament wins. Couple Olympics, 4 nations, got a World Cup in there. World Championships.
Hungary starts the third period with a 2-1 lead on Kazakhstan in Group B in Herning, Denmark. A result that could upset the apple cart on that side of the draw. Top 4 teams in each 18 group advance to the quarterfinals. McKinnon with it. The top 2 teams in each group will stay here in their home rinks to play, with one exception. Sweden plays here no matter what, and so does Denmark in Herning. McKinnon moves that back. And now Sanheim up ahead for Horvat, knocked down by Tim Bozon. Up for Sasha Taylor, goes in on Sanheim. Back around to Uyghur, chipped ahead by Crosby. He finds Konechny in full stride. Up for Celebrini. Macklin Celebrini streaking in, drops that back to Konechny, but the pass is picked up by Taylor. Rink wide pass for Ritz. Shoots, and Binnington to stop on that. And that shooting by Ritz clipped Dobson up high as Konechny drops it back to Uyghur. And Uyghur rattles it back down. Celebrini around to Crosby. Yorka up at the wreck that was poked away by Matheson, and Crosby backhands it back down to the French zone. France has got the tight turnaround of the Slovakia game tomorrow afternoon here, as Johnson chips that to Fantilli, but Voss knocks that away. And Lech plays that down. The French have a long-term plan for their national team and development to get ready for 2030 as the host team in the Olympics. As Johnson winds in. Kent Johnson drops that back to Spurgeon, a hard shot tipped high by O'Reilly. Fantilli feeds it back across. Spurgeon back on it. Wraps it back around, trying to thread that back in front. Penalty coming to France. This play is called. 2:46 into the third period.
It's almost funny to see Spurgeon take a one-timer. Such a reluctant shooter at times as Jörg Trey watches his team go to the penalty box once again. Battling in front.
Number 27, 2 minutes for high sticking.
Ryan O'Reilly thinks as soon as I get a mask on, I get hit in the face all the time. One of just a handful. I think there's only 3 or 4 NHLers remaining that don't wear a shield.
Right.
And he's been hit in the face twice already for high sticking penalties for Canada. Mandatory half visors in international play.
McKinnon winds it and shoots, and Juncker got a piece of that as it bounces back to center ice and picked up by Montour. Brandon Montour, 18 goals this year in his first year with Seattle in the NHL as McKinnon plays it back across. Won a Stanley Cup the year before with Florida. McKinnon feeds that down to Konechny, try to flip that high.
Trying to do the same shot Crosby hit.
Here is Crosby with it. Down to Horvat. Back to Crosby. Chips that back to Montour. Feeds it across. McKinnon, a hard shot. Junker the save on that. Here's McKinnon back across to Crosby. Centers it for Horvat. That jam play is turned away. McKinnon. Feeds it down to Konechny. And back in front is Horvat. Scores. And Bo Horvat has his second of the game and a third power play goal in the tournament.
Note to the rest of the tournament, do not take penalties against this power play. And it's another Horvat one-timer, but the flow of the bodies just drifting in and out of holes, and Horvat just instinctively exchanges with Crosby. Crosby darts to the strong side, draws attention, and Horvat flares out to the backside, able to go with a sweeper. Good little pass from Konechny, elevates it to get to Horvat, rolling puck. Slings it upstairs on Jonka. That first unit is so much better once they shoot and then pursue it, because then they start to move. They get too stationary, even as good as they are. PK has the advantage, but once they start moving, it's trouble. Bates it to get to Horvat, rolling puck. Slings it upstairs on Jonka. That first unit is so much better once they shoot and then pursue it, because then they start to move. They get too stationary, even as good as they are. PK has the advantage, but once they start moving, it's trouble.
Cano to Shan. Braden Shan works in. Bobs that back. Here's Sanheim. Works back in deep and plays that across. And Lech back with it. Chip back to Johan Coulot. Plays in Marseille in the French league. They just built a brand new rink there. A lot of rinks have been constructed recently in France. There'll be a new building in Nice as well for the 2030 Olympics. The arena sports, hockey, figure skating, speed skating will take place in Nice. The alpine sports a few hours north. As Cooley moves in with Johnson centering pass, and Kent Johnson chipped that just wide. Here's Weegar back with it. Across to Riker Evans, centers it. Cooley got a stick on that, saved by Junka. Now Weegar fires, and Junka kicks that out. Evans back down to Cooley, and O'Reilly banks it back around. And now that's frozen by Junka. With 5:37 gone here in the third.
Kent Johnson looking for a little backhand chip here as Cooley tries to return the favor. They already scored together on a Cooley goal on a 2-on-1. This time it's Cooley to Johnson. And this backhand chip is a very difficult shot to execute. Timing the cut of the blade is also the forward trajectory is just more awkward on the backhand. Johnson missed by just a hair.
Fired back in by Jared Spurgeon. In his 15th NHL season. Here's Spurgeon back with it. He was drafted by the Islanders. They didn't sign him. He went to Minnesota's development camp. Got an invite to their training camp. As Tim Bozon moves in, that's knocked down in front. Chance for Kevin Bozon. Spurgeon knocked that away. And Mike Yeo, as Belmar moves that back across, told the management staff in Minnesota he shouldn't play in the American League. He might be one of our best defensemen, period. Spurgeon wanted to get a signing bonus be enough to get him to college. 15 years later, he could buy a college. 4-0 Canada leads here in the third. Sidney Crosby scored for Canada here in the third period, a 4-0 lead. Hungary still leading Kazakhstan 2-1. In Herning, Denmark. Crosby up for Celebrini, and Macklin Celebrini winds in. Spreads that pass across to Crosby, fed it back in front and just missed Montour with it. What a pass by Celebrini. Pass from Baptiste Bush. Moved ahead. Bush was added to the French lineup this morning. Konecny drops it back. Celebrini a shot. That's off the stick of Dow. Up and out of play.
I still think Macklin Celebrini is looking to Crosby an awful lot. And obviously you want to use your line mates. He does that, but almost deferring a little bit too much, which is human nature even for someone as talented as Celebrini is. The more he plays, the more comfortable he'll get, the better, more natural it will be for him.
Rink wide pass to Texier, broken up by Riker Evans. Brought in by Texier. Yorka shoots, that goes high. And Leclerc with it. Back to Yorka. That's chipped away, and a chance now for Hayton, but Yorka jumps back. Texier feeds it back.
Well, if not for this game going forward, Texier back in the lineup is good news for France.
Yeah. And again, to avoid relegation, they likely have to win their last game against Slovenia. That would look right now. Fantilli back across. Even if Slovenia were to win one between now and that game, you'd still hold the tiebreaker on them. Bertrand Back across, Anthony Leckie finds Baudon, moves it and shoots. Binnington makes the stop and hangs on to that.
Saved by Jordan Binnington. Hasn't had too much to do, but that was a good one. Working on a lead courtesy of Bo Horvat. He got things going early on with his nice little drag and chip play off a forecheck, and then why not on the power play, Konechny, Horvat. He is finding a lot of one-timer action playing with McKinnon. Konechny on the power play now leads the tournament with 4 goals. Pair of 2-goal games.
He does present
an
interesting case for an Olympic team as a guy who can play forward of the wing.
That's it. If you can play on the wing as well, this effectively, and take face-offs.
Busting in is McKinnon.
And then who knows? Maybe they're taking notes and saying he also really works with McKinnon, who's going to be on the team for sure as an option. Paul Horvat waiting for a new boss on the island.
Yeah, the Islanders are interviewing candidates for their now vacant GM's job after it was announced that Lou Lamoriello will not be back on the island. And they'll have the first pick in the upcoming NHL draft. Celebrini threads it across to Konechny.
James Hagens grew up an Islander fan from around the area.
He did.
Don't know if that means you take him, but it's just another layer to it.
In comes Celebrini. That pass knocked down by Bruce. Sent back ahead, but the pass misfired. Icing called against France.
Well, teammate on the left, York Trey in the middle, Cristobal Huet, the coach on the left. He was drifted out of frame. Goalie with me with the Montreal Canadiens.
Had a long international career. Yeah.
Great international career. Very, very good NHL career as well. Was an all-star the year we played together. But not on the bench as a goalie coach.
No, he's
as a full-fledged assistant coach.
And draws up the plays during timeouts. Celebrini pivots away from Colletti. It will be an interesting decision for the new GM of the Islanders on that first pick. Matthew Schaefer, the defenseman, is highly, highly touted.
Was injured the second half of the year, so they're probably not as big of a book on him, but when he played, he is dynamic defenseman who could play 25 minutes all situations. That's, you better be getting a super duper star forward if you're going to forego that pick.
Deneau brought down, picked off by Ritz, but held at the line by Dobson. Rolls up towards the goal. Dobson, another Islander, actually spotted a fan in an Islander uniform or Islander jersey as he's coming off the ice for the warm-up and tossed him a puck. Shen. Rink wide to Hayton. In comes Barrett Hayton. Young Cleon drops that back. And Montour steps into that. Scores! It deflected. Then off Schunk it in. And Montour has his first.
I enjoy the pile of 5 guys having a conversation.
Did you touch it?
As to who got that goal. All the forwards caught to not touching it at all. So Brandon Montour will get his first, team's 5th of the game. Nice job by Barrett Hayton, driving it wide and deep, enabling Montour to walk in this one, and it just hits Junka and rolls up and over. Bit of a roller. It's just spin, or did it catch a piece of a stick? No, that's just top spin. And you've been watching the way Montour shoots that. His bottom hand is probably only 2 feet off the blade. Knowing that it's rolling, knowing he's going to lean on it, he gets way down to make sure it flex the stick to get that kind of pop.
Again, a guy who scored 18 goals as a defenseman this year in the NHL. 8:48 to go here in the third period. Canada now up 5-0. Sidney Crosby wearing the neck protector he wore apparently in the 04 World Junior. And we know Crosby loves old equipment.
He does have raggedy gear. His shoulder pads have been put together 25 times.
There is shoulder pads from Junior. He famously, as Johnson busts in, Kent Johnson with a chance, shoots. Juka makes the save at the start of every season. He gets a new Pittsburgh Penguins hat from the equipment manager and wears it every day for the rest of the year.
And it famously has all the salt stains all over it by the end of the year.
Johnson goes rink wide. A chance for Celebrini, turned away by Junka. That was Spurgeon, rather, who jumped up. Johnson has it knocked away. Kevin Bozon up for Bertrand. Drops it back, and that shot by Kebe is handled by Bennington.
Kent Johnson just finds a way to get around offensive chances. As he spots a break, jumps on a loose puck, he's in alone. This is the right ankle shot. Lefties like to put it in on that ankle and just missed the target there. Then he gets Spurgeon jumping up well. But you see what we're talking about when Kent Johnson just produces points. Not just, but always produces points. Puck just follows him around in offensive situations.
Montour has a goal and an assist in this game for Canada. 7:45 to go in the third.
Well, figure if you're the lone defenseman on that first power play group for Canada, you'll pick up some points in this tournament. Now you got to be pretty good to earn that spot. Montour does.
Lead pass to McKinnon. Now Forster for Matheson, who moves that in. 32-14, the shots on goal. Hungary now leading Kazakhstan 4-1 in the third. Upset brewing there. Matheson shoots, net deflects away. Shot for Forster was blocked by Bust. McKinnon trying to dig that freight. And Tim Bozon has it. Set down and icing called against France.
Tim Bozon's had an eventful tournament. Had a tough turnover early on in a loss to Latvia, but responded with a goal alongside his brother against Finland that picked up a point in overtime. And certainly the highest drafted third rounder to Montreal back in 2012 after lighting up the WHL with Kamloops and Kootenay.
Off the face-off, here's Montour with it. Back down to Celebrini. Long shot by Montour, gloved down by Junka. Montour. For Crosby, and we'll be careful with that. Now Foxenbeck is connecting, trying to find Celebrini, and Junka finally corrals that with Crosby whacking away.
It's good work by Celebrini on the back check to turn it over to create one more chance for his group. Junka looking a little slow to get up. We hope he's okay. He might not be.
We saw this earlier, that he was a little slow to get up in the first period.
You need the net to get up. That's not good. Feeling the left leg. He was flexing the left leg earlier. He looked at the clock. Can he hang in there for 6 more minutes? You wonder. Left leg, anything? Just a busy afternoon for him.
What's the problem, leg or? Yeah. What do you think? Can you continue?
Put it to him. I guess he thinks he's good to go. He's flexing the leg out right now and net, kicking it, trying to get things moving. Could be cramps.
We saw him
almost hopefully.
We saw him make kind of an awkward movement earlier. Stick his leg out and make a save, and he was slow to get up after that.
He's just one of those guys who gets up slow.
I know the feeling.
It's me every morning.
5:45 to go here in the third. Shen spins that back to Uyghur. That shot deflects wide. Shen back on it. If Hungary were to beat Kazakhstan today, it'd be their first win at the World Championship since they beat Belarus in 2016. Didn't help them. They were relegated anyway that year. France beat them. As Hayton winds in. Now Deneau tries to center it. Philip Deneau feeds that back to Matheson. Has a look and shoots. He rocketed that wide. Evans back in front for Hayton. Still bouncing. Hayton back for Evans. Off the bench comes Fantilli. So that rink wide to him. It skipped over his stick. And Matheson back with it. That's picked up, and a chance now for Leclerc. Guillaume Leclerc is streaking in. Leclerc moves in, drops it back for Texier. You fan of the shot.
A read by Evans. He was on the chase, recognized Leclerc looking to pass. Just pulled back and played the passing lane. Leclerc probably should just take the breakaway. When it's available, take the clear-cut breakaway.
He's had a couple in this game, partial breakaway. O'Reilly, rink wide pass to Fantilli. Adam Fantilli moves in and shoots. Juk got the stop on that. Now Dobson picks it up. Back for O'Reilly. Johnson sends that down. And Bertrand. Here's Sanheim with it. Uyghur up at the Horvat, back to Uyghur. Chips it across from McKinnon, but the play is offside at the French line. 3:41 to go in the third. Canada with a 5-0 lead.
Oh, wow.
10 different goal scorers for Canada so far in the tournament. And a 5-0 lead here against France. Canada back in action on Thursday against Austria. Slovakia Saturday, Finland Monday, and the host Swedes to close out the preliminary round here on Tuesday night. Great atmosphere last night for Finland, Sweden. Uyghur, long shot, and Junka got a piece of that with Horvat parked right in front of him. Uyghur down to McKinnon. Nathan McKinnon in for Montour. Now sent back down to the Canadian zone, and icing called against the French.
Montour takes a pretty heavy spill in behind the net. He's trying to activate. And Montour having a productive offensive afternoon. Can look at it here, driving wide, and second hit by Pinon, and then he almost kicked Pinon in the head. Watch Montour skate. Oh boy, that is dangerous. So close. My goodness. Did not make contact.
Matheson, two connecting. Crosby trying to dig it free. Here's Celebrini. Macklin Celebrini. Drops it off to Crosby. Back to Konechny, a long shot. Konechny's been turned away in tight a few times, so he tried a long distance attempt.
So it's 5-0, you mentioned. 4 different goal scorers. Horvat opens it up. Cooley gets his first on a nice 2-on-1. Sid maybe the highlight goal of the night. Short side shelf on the power play. Horvat again on the power play, and one more Brandon Montour slapper. And it's just sort of been a well-rounded, in-control, professional kind of game for Canada.
Ritz out to center ice to Texier. Alex Texier working in. That's knocked out Binnington, playing little mini sticks there. Spurgeon up for Konechny, trying to find Crosby. Crosby taken down. 2 to go here in the third period. Here is Ritz with 36-14, the shots on goal in favor of Canada, which has used 3 different goaltenders in its first 3 games. As Bertrand moves in, shoots, and Binnington to stop on that. Bosque, a long shot, goes wide.
Although oddly enough, Canada also has used 3 different goaltenders, as well as France, both teams. Durand showed well in his first start. Looked really sharp. Marc-Andre Fleury, first one in and not any others.
Ryker Evans tried to move that back in front. Pretty tough to argue about the goaltending when you've allowed 1 goal in 3 games. Evans back across. Uyghur.
We will have to have a conversation about who plays when going forward.
As Leck moves in, spins back. Across for Spinozzi. And Evans centering pass, knocked down by Shen, lifts it back down to the French zone.
Question becomes, for Canada, you almost work backward from Sweden. And the fact that Finland, Sweden to end the round robin are back-to-back. If you want Binnington to be the guy going into the knockout round, are you comfortable with Binnington playing back-to-backs?
Right.
Or do you want to split that up and have Fleury play Finland, Binnington, Sweden, and work your way back from there?
Picked up by Hayton.
Now, last year, Binnington played virtually every game. So he can certainly play 2 in a row when there's no travel.
He played 8 of the 10.
All the big games down the stretch he was in net for.
Spinozzi spins back. And Canada will run its record to 14-2 all-time against France with a 5-0 win. Jordan Binnington makes 15 saves for the shutout. And Canada next up against Austria on Thursday. France, a quick turnaround to play Slovakia tomorrow afternoon.
Good battle by Junka in net. That was going to be a tough afternoon for him, or evening for him, no matter what. And Canada just did what they had to do. And if you're Canada, you love to see it feel balanced. A lot of different players involved. And spread the goal scoring around, while maintaining good defense will be the coach's mantra. Don't worry about the offense. If we play defense well, we should win plenty of games in this tournament. 1 goal against in 3 games, pretty good start.
And now we'll get the player of the game presentations. And then for the 3rd straight game, the Canadian national
The best players of each team will be awarded with the watch by Tissot, the official timekeeper of the 2025 IIHF Ice Hockey World Championship. The awards will be presented by Johan Nilsson, organizing committee of the 2025 IIHF Ice Hockey World Championship. And the best player of Team France, number 41, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare.
Bellemare, the veteran, gets the nod.
Be nice with several of his former teammates on the other side for Canada.
It's a nice round of applause from them. He played with 5 of these Canadian players in the NHL.
Best player of Team Canada, number 14, Bo Horvath.
Scores twice, leads the tournament in goal scoring with 4. He has been a force since the first minute of the first game.
All the while playing out of position largely on the wing. Looks pretty comfortable there.
Dear all, please rise if you are able to for the national anthem of Canada.
Canada joining Sweden and Germany as the only teams to start the tournament with 3 regulation wins. They take down France by a score of 5-0. They've now scored 16 goals in the tournament, which leads the way. Sidney Crosby scoring his first of the tournament, while Bo Horvat adding 2. He now leads the tournament with 4 goals in total.